Happy Thursday. How's it going? Today we're going to do some behind the scenes kind of re-editing some stuff. If you guys have watched the latest video, that's what we're going to be talking about. The editing to the beat versus editing with the music. And today we're going to just take a look at how and why and all those fun things. Roger, Luis, hello. Yeah, I was in the same room with you guys and we're just listening to how to crush it on YouTube, right? That's the whole game. That's what we're trying to accomplish with what we're doing here. We're trying to communicate and add value and make videos that people want to actually watch and get some good value from. And we're just sharing stuff that is great. So Basha, hello. And yeah, so I'm gonna wait for a few moments and let some people hopefully join in. I know this is gonna be an exciting topic for everybody, but I have trying to figure this out. I'm gonna be sharing the actual edit, so we'll get to that when it's time. Give me a second. So we'll go back to this. But yeah, I wanted to definitely chat with you guys. What did you guys think? Did it make sense in the video what I was trying to communicate? How editing on the beat it's an easy way to achieve a similar effect. And if people aren't really looking for it, they won't know the difference between editing on the beat and then having those really powerful moments hitting on the beat. It's a very, very slight difference, but on a psychological level, on a subliminal level, it connects a lot more intuitively to the way people enjoy life. And it's almost like it's like having a soundtrack for life where those big moments have those crescendos, those accentuations. Because otherwise, I always find that cutting on the beat, now, again, it has its place. It's meant to be used when it's actually needed, when it's in a good place. So it's one of those things where it's an easy fix. It's an easy way to achieve that momentum, that power. But when you actually look back at it and you analyze it, what were you subconsciously communicating to the audience? And that's what it really comes down to. Like what are we trying to communicate? What feelings are we trying to emote from the viewers that are watching our videos, that are watching all the content that we're putting out there? It really starts to resonate when you are able to connect on an emotional level to people that you're aiming as your target audience. Jasim, hello. Happy Thursday to everyone. I think this is going to be an interesting one. I'm screen sharing for the first time. And I'm going to do this in Final Cut, but it doesn't really matter what editor you'd be using. The principles are going to be the same. So I'm just going to kind of walk through the edit that I did and my thought process for the entire thing. I gave myself about an hour to edit each one. So I did have a time limit. I didn't finesse it too much. I tried to pretend as though there was a client saying, yeah, we need this done. There's a time limit. So I try to approach each edit the same way. And just looking for those moments. Because the very first thing that most people do, I'm going to share the screen right now. One of the first things that most people do is, where's my stuff? There it is. Hide that, and I'm gonna go up. Let me just move this. So, workout shots. So one of the first things that most people do, they get their footage in and they kind of just cycle through it. You know, they find those moments that they want to, they find those moments like that. And, you know, it's a good moment and they save it. They put their mark, they put their out point, and, you know, they move on to the next clip and just kind of go down the road and you put all these in. And in Final Cut, you can actually take all these Oops. Oh, it should be in here. There you go. Can you see that? No, you can't see that. Oh, never mind. But in Final Cut, you can actually make a whole separate bin of just these selects without seeing the rest of it. So your in and out point will be just that part. So I actually think that's pretty cool. But yeah, you go in and you choose all your clips, and then you start laying them down on your timeline. So guys, just let me know if this is too loud for you guys. Yeah, the demo made me want to work out too. I felt like I was pumped and jazzed after it, so I needed to work out. Is the audio okay? All right. So I'm just going to watch it. It's 30 seconds. And this is the one that is cut on the beat. So I'm going to walk through the thought process on this one. Train hard, right? So when I searched for the music, I was initially looking for a piece of music that I thought that had the right feeling, that had the right mood for what I was going for. So I was looking for something that was rhythmic and like really, really punchy, but this had the nice balance and it felt to fit the mood that I was looking for. And that's always the first step, is what is the mood that I'm trying to go for? I did want it, that driving feeling, that, you know, that always like pushing forward, that, right? Because that was the kind of the brief that we're going for this video. So I just did the same thing that everyone does. I just kind of played it through, add my markers by pushing M along the way, and I did it manually. And I looked for, first I did just Roger, I appreciate you staying up late for this live stream. Thank you. That's why you were hanging out on Clubhouse, learning some knowledge. So, like, there are some moments that were in between the beats, like these big hits right here, like that. So I definitely want to find moments like that after the fact. But initially, I did the standard thing of I'm just going to grab the music so you guys can see. So I did the same standard thing. Just kind of tap away. So I had my markers, I had the beats placed in by pushing the letter M. And I think it's in Premiere Pro, it's exactly the same method, where you can get that. There's actually plugins that you can get that will do this for you. But again, because this is a song that had beats with between beats and these off beats and all that kind of stuff, and it just worked out. Doing manually is fine, especially if you're doing a 30-second spot. Just go in and find the ones you want and finesse it as you go. So yeah, I just went in. The first two edits are literally cut, right? And just on those beats. And I think I left it the same for both. And then, oh, there, and you'll notice that I have the edit almost like a frame before the beat. Now, you can do it one of two ways. You can do it right on the beat or a frame before. And that's because as you're listening to it, that frame edit takes it's a momentary split second for your brain to register that there was a change. Now, it's actually funny because light travels faster than sound, but because the light coming from the screen takes almost the same amount of time to get to your eyes as the sound from your earphones or from like if you're wearing earphones, that by the time your brain processes sound faster, so by the time all that connects, you're going to have that little bit of delay. So if you have the edit right on the edit, your brain is going to feel it's off a little bit. It's one of those 1 or 2 frames that make it feel like it's on the edit. Test it out for yourselves, like when you guys have have a chance, and see what it's like, because it's an interesting thing, and understanding how the brain works and how the eyes and ears and all that connect and what travels faster. Doing that one little frame before can make things feel like they're synced up a little bit better. There's your bonus tip for today. One of many, hopefully. So again, just kind of went through and looked for those edits, those beats, those hits, and just did the standard thing, that YouTube tutorial that everyone has seen. If you haven't seen it, it's literally just there's a marker, put a beat or put an edit, and just kind of go through, and then in between you have these other moments, and you find those as well. You don't have to do it on every single beat, but and then to spice it up even a little more, I did this kind of thing, where that really quick punch in, but again on those beats, on the dot dot dot. Again, it's adding visual excitement to footage, and this technique, as I said in the video, works really, really well when you're working with static footage, when you're working on footage that is innately not that exciting. So gear review stuff, small products where the camera's just doing a slight move, and like there's nothing happening in the shot except for the camera move. And that's why, if you've seen a lot of my videos on my channel, when I do the behind the scenes sorry, I thought you noticed there was one frame that was after the beat. That was a mistake. But yeah, so what was I saying? So it comes down to, when I'm filming those kind of product review shots, that's why I like to do the focus rack, because I know I'm going to use that as an edit point from a far shot to out of focus to in focus, or going from something that is in focus to something that is, something that's going out of focus to something that's in focus. And if you go back and you actually see those little moments, or I'll do the transition, and the hit will happen on the transition, like when I go from a darker area to a lighter area, or I'll use the camera swish or pan. Sven, hello. Good to see you as well. Wait, no, that's artorT.tv. Hello. It's midnight here, but the sound is okay. Thank you. Hello, hello. So yeah, when you had, I wanted to choose footage like this that had a lot of motion, that had a lot of big movements, that had those hits, that had her jumping, the running, just a lot of excitement, to show that adding the edits on the beat actually takes away from the power of the experience. And because there's no moment that actually hits on a good beat. Like it, here, I'll show you one moment where, like even this moment right here where she walks in, like I wanted to have her walk in, because that felt like a better moment than trying to have her in already and just doing that breath. Because like it goes by so fast between the two shots that it doesn't do anything. It doesn't work. So instead, as she's about to do that big breath out, which I think is a great moment, an emotional moment for this character to. I'm not even showing you what I'm showing. Maybe I gotta learn my stuff. Here we go. Let's do that again. Here we go. let's talk about this again. So this moment right here. Oh. So where she walks in and she does that. So I love this little moment where she walks in and she's exhausted and she wants to, and she takes a deep breath, this whew, right? So just walking into it. But like, because we cut in too fast, to the shot, it loses the emotional moment for it. It loses the power of her knowing what is coming next. And because we lose that whole, oh, she's prepping for something, that moment is lost building up to she's going to do more workout, but what is it? And the next one is this. And again, because I'm editing on the beat, like I had to move her catching the bar in between two beats. So an actual moment where she grabs onto something and has a nice impact hit, just gone. Like those moments are gone. And it just, let me just move this back. So again, it's just having those little moments where it's like, I wanted to see her take that breath. I wanted to see her, you know, catch that. But because there's no accentuation, there's no moment to sync up to, it just becomes its own moment in kind of dead air. You see it, it's there, it's a nice moment, but it doesn't have the impact that it should have. And then here, I just tried to get her moving to the music. And this is just a callback to that first time where she's tired. So I felt that was a nice way to call back. But then, no, she just keeps going. And then I did those 3 edits right here. Again, if you can see right there. Because I'm trying to add a little bit more oomph to her run. And then she runs even further. And then the last hit, train hard, landing on the logo. A generic logo, obviously. But yeah, so editing on the beat forces you to choose between emphasizing the music or emphasizing the moments. And you can't have both when you edit to the beat. You lose that completely. And it's just, I don't feel that it's emotional. There's a lot of energy because the music is energetic and the visuals do support it. But again, it's really useful when you're trying to make boring footage more exciting. So when you have those like the big epic flyovers, the drone footage, and then you're cutting from drone footage to something, it'll work really well there because there's nothing to accentuate. There's nothing to make more dramatic. There's nothing to emote more. So it's just like pretty shot, done. And it works well. It's a beautiful way to do that. So we're going to move over to... Actually, do you guys have any questions about editing to the beat? Anything specific? Let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are. Also, beyond the questions, let me know which editing style do you prefer. Do you prefer editing on the beat? Like when you watch those 2 clips back to back in the video, did you like one over the other? Did one connect with you a little bit better? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And as you're thinking about it, make sure you hit that like button and let me know. Let me know you guys liking me just jibber jabbering here. Music sounds too loud with this camera angle. Okay, I'll turn it down. Ugh. Give me a second. You still used many different clips, so it worked well for this. Yeah, I genuinely tried to make both edits work and feel good. But I did want to show the different variations and the different moments that are standout moments in those 2 different edits. Oh, right, right. Okay, so maybe I'll set this back. Okay, just see me saying, oops. Mental note, don't play this back when I'm... Okay, so I'm going to move on to the edit on music. So we're just going to watch this again just to refresh your memory on it. Let me just move that out of the way. So this one began the same, but before we get to the second hit, I'm already into the next clip to get her with the stretch. So let's just watch this. Again, it's short, so it's 30 seconds, so let's just go through it. Hit. So editing to the beat is not always the best for me. Sometimes I need 2 edits before I feel when to change the edit from beat to the moment. Do you think it's possible to use both in the same video? Yes, absolutely. And the best editors in the world will find a way to always have it serve the story first. So if there's something that works better just to the beat, then lean that way easily. But if there's a moment that really stands out, it's just like, ooh, this would be good to get on that on a nice big hit. That's when you use those moments. So I try to, with these 2 edits, to exclusively do edit to the beat and then edit with music. But ideally, I would do something that is a mixture of the 2, especially early on to just build that momentum. I would go with the beat just to get the user hyped, and especially for shots like this where there's nothing particularly exciting in these. Oops, nope, I don't want to do that. There's nothing particularly exciting in these. What am I doing? There you go. So there's nothing particularly exciting in these 3 shots. My instinct was to do edit to the beat and just have that pace right off the top being into the video. But then once we get into the next one where she's skipping, I tried to have her bouncing to the beat. So just watch it again. So even as she's jumping, so I retime that shot so she's landing on the music. Just ever so slightly. So those 2 hits. And then the one following that, it's a hit, and then the dun, dun, and she's bouncing back up. So again, I'm looking for those moments where people are, where those actions really connect with what's happening on screen, not just waiting for the next edit to happen. Jasim, thanks for hanging out. So he's just saying, Jasim, thanks for hanging out with us. And I agree, learning how to interchange between the 2 on the beat and on the music can make a visual piece feel more engaging and unpredictable. Exactly. You want to always be unfolding a story. And if you do 30 seconds of just literally cutting on a beat, the viewer subconsciously is going to know that it's coming and they're going to get bored. It's adding those moments that really change up the dynamic, those edits, those like, oh, that's unexpected. It's a subtle thing, but it's something that the viewer appreciates more and they enjoy it more because there's those satisfaction moments, like in the moment where she drops the hammer, essentially. She lifts it up and then bam, Like it's a satisfying moment. Like those are moments that you can't get when you're editing on the beat. Because where would you put that? You would put it in between two beats, and then you would just lose that in. You would lose that impact. Yeah, I had the. I added those moments in both to have those hits to accentuate that beat. Again, if I didn't put that action on that beat, adding that sound effect would make no sense. So adding to the whole experience. And again, when I say again a lot. So when you're adding, I always recommend edit the music to fit the visuals. And that's what they do in commercials, in feature films. They do the music afterwards. They write the music afterwards. They put it in, and they add those pauses or those breaks or those crescendos in those big moments. So use that same techniques that is being used in the most popular and best content in the world. And I know that editing for YouTube is its own beast, and editing for commercials and narrative films, like completely different styles. But you can do a narrative editing structure for a YouTube video if that's the kind of video you're trying to do. So if you understand the piece that you're trying to create, and you have your understanding of the foundation that you're trying to convey to the viewer, and you know the viewer that you're going to be communicating to, you can use that to your advantage with the psychological cues that they're already going to be ready to accept. And then you can surprise them by changing it up. That's what the whole saying means. If you know the rules, if you learn the rules, you'll know how to break them, and you'll break them in a way that is unique and engaging for the viewing experience. And it's always creating those moments and finding those moments, and it's just adding a moment after another moment after another moment, and building upon that. And like I said, I have done editing to the beat numerous times. It's usually what I do as my first pass, just so I can see it and then let it sit, and then sit with it and feel how it is, and then look for those other moments that you can actually add to the whole entire experience. So again, that's going back to that shot where she breathes out. So if you take a look, because the music had it already in the moment, and then having a shot that worked with it, I knew that I was able to have that breath, but a little bit different than before, where she's just, kind of leaning on the bike. This is more like, okay, it's working out, calling back to that moment where she's taking a breath before she continues working out some more. So the next two beats fall on those kind of moments, those kind of actions. So the breath, and then back at it, and then she does her workout, and then she just keeps going, just hardcore. Again, using nearly the same shots. Like I couldn't do it one for one, because the moment you start walking away from the beats, the shots start to become longer. You're able to give them breath. You're able to stay on them a little bit longer. You're able to finish an action. And that's exactly it. It is a subtle difference, but it adds so much. It's that surface layer, and then you got that subconscious layer that really starts to connect with the viewer. And that's why when you watch those Nike commercials, it's never just on the beat. They may be in a few places, but then there's those moments where the actions become the beats. And it's really finding that balance. So Svettin, yes, absolutely use both, and understand that if you have an action moment, use that action moment. It's a really good way to elevate the storytelling portion of it. And again, the story I saw here was early morning, she's working out, getting ready, stretching, and then boom, she's into it. And she works out, and already like burpees, and she's dead. Oh, okay, she takes a break. Now back to it. She takes another break. Okay, on to the next thing. Weight training. Boom. And it just keeps going, and it's like it keeps elevating, finishing her full movement. That's why I like this piece over the other. And just train hard. You guys feel like working out? I felt like working out after watching those. Whew, tired just thinking about all that working out that I should have been doing. All right, let me jump out of this. There you go. All right. So to recap, what have you guys learned? I know that this is just one aspect of creating pieces and creating content and learning it. And the only way to really get a feeling for it is to do it over and over again. So I would love to see when you guys are doing this kind of stuff, when you guys have those edit pieces, send me a link, send me a DM. Let me see what you guys are doing. I'd love to see if you guys are taking any of this stuff and trying it and doing your own variations. And that's what it's all about. It's about learning by doing. Oops, sorry. I should not scrub along that thing. So on the post-production side, what are some of the other things that you guys are looking for to kind of get better at, to kind of learn? I definitely want to do more editing stuff. I'm thinking of doing I mentioned this in last week's a live stream about doing a Final Cut editing for beginners, kind of walk through how to set up the project, how to just a complete overview. And then move into, this is how you do this specific edit, a J and L edit in Final Cut. This is how I've already done a whole bunch of music related stuff and how to edit audio in Final Cut. But I definitely want to start delving into, this is how you stabilize a shot or track in Final Cut, or do multiple multicam edits. If you guys would be interested in that, and I would put my spin on it and how I approach it and the things that I actually find are useful, and how I set up my projects to be the most efficient without bloating it in Final Cut. Or are you guys more interested in Premiere or DaVinci? Because both of those are definitely something I'm comfortable in and I can help out. I was thinking of focusing more on Final Cut because that's the one I use a lot, and I just like it. I think that more people should use Final Cut at this point. If it does go to subscription model, like I heard in the rumor mill, then we'll see what that may mean. I actually feel that it won't go into a subscription model. I think that they'll just bundle it for people that didn't buy it. I think they'll bundle it into a subscription, so it would technically be a rental software, but I don't think they'll make it exclusive. It doesn't make any sense. It's not something that is a huge moneymaker for them. It's more that, or maybe even the terminology is that you don't really own the software, because if you stop using the Apple ID, then you can't use it anymore. I don't know. I don't know how that is going to play out. Good. I'm glad you've been using it. It's something that actually happens naturally. It's a feeling that happens, and it definitely happened with me early on, where you would just start doing it because it feels right. And a lot of editing and even content creation, like looking at a picture, you just know that it feels right. But then when you try to emulate it, you're like, why doesn't mine feel like that? I know that I had that feeling, especially with photography or making videos, or any kind of digital art. I would see something, I'm like, I like the way that looks. That feels good. I want to create the same thing. And I would try to do it and be like, wow, that doesn't work. And I didn't understand how to get it. But sometimes you do. Sometimes it just feels right and you get it right. So, but then you just build on that, because like, well, I liked how that felt. And then you do it again, and then you do it again. But hearing this and understanding it a little bit, you know, under the hood and how it affects the audience, then you take a moment and you look at your edit and you take a step back and you're like, what if I did this? How would the audience see it? And I always try to look at anything that I create for the very first time. I take a step back and I ask, how would a first-time viewer experience this? How would a first-time viewer look at this photo or this edit or anything that I created, and like, how would they interpret it? How would they feel when they're watching it for the very first time? Because most people only watch one piece of content once for majority of it. There's those exceptions where people will watch the same movie 10 times a year, or they'll go back to, I don't know how many YouTube videos you guys go back and rewatch, unless it's a tutorial to show you how to do something that you forgot because you didn't remember. So most content is consumed once, I think 1.2 times on average. It doesn't sound like much, but so always when you take a step back, watch it as though you're watching it for the first time, and how is someone going to experience that? And that's why when I watch a movie, I've been able to compartmentalize my brain, and I can watch a movie for the first time and just enjoy it, especially the first time. So I'm not trying to be like, how did they do that shot? How did they do those visual effects? How is it? I'm always trying to just follow the story and watch it unfold in front of me. And even when I rewatch it, then I do the analytical, be like, okay, how did they do this? Why did they edit like that? Why did they cut to that shot? What could that mean? And I try to break it down and analyze it. But then after I've done that, then I can rewatch a movie and just go back to just enjoying it, because I don't need to analyze it anymore. But I do like reconsuming content that I really like, because I want to see those other moments that I missed. I know I missed the first time, because sometimes the edits, like in this example, sometimes the edits happen so fast that it just goes by so quickly that your brain took it all in, but the understanding, the breakdown of it doesn't resonate. You just know that this is the feeling you got from it. This is what it communicated on a general level, and that's enough most of the time. But when you want to understand why did you like that, that's when you have to go back and like watch how the edits are. Understand like how long did they hold on that shot? Why did they hold on that shot for that long? Where did that shot lead into? Like there's a whole nother level of just subconscious thinking that goes into choosing edits, and I talk about this a little bit in like the camera angles, and is it a high angle, low angle? This is all subconscious stuff that you don't realize. You don't even think about it. It's not communicated. I was having a discussion the other day talking about that exact thing. Like what is the thing that you're trying to communicate without saying words? And that's where editing allows you to craft that story in the third place. Hold on, I'm gonna show you something. This is something that I was talking about the other day. Oh, let me just find it. Pulling it up. Give me 1 second. Sorry for that. All right, let me just. Okay. Philip, hello. Hello. So the question is, thought on color grading. Is good calibrated monitor enough and adjust by eye, or you can use not so good monitor and rely on scopes? Okay, so you see that monitor? That was my reference monitor until a day ago. There was a moment I heard a pop and it went into like permanent night mode, and it's been this orange tint. But even before that, I've been trying to calibrate it and get it better. And it was always, the colors were always shifted off, and I wasn't able to get it back. And that's like a 10-year-old monitor. So I've been using that for a long time. I trust the scopes. I trust the numbers 100% of the time. And the reason for that is because one time I didn't, and I trusted the monitor, I sent it off to client, and they're like, "Why is it all green?" And I'm like, "Oh, that is just I must have left a note on for color grading." So trust the scopes. I always do a quick check on something before I send it out. So yeah, I always trust the scopes. If you can get a good calibrated monitor, that's fantastic, but those like really, really good ones are expensive. And if you want, and you have to make sure that it's always calibrated. So you need to get calibration tools. You need to have that because you can't just trust your eyes that the monitor is calibrated correctly. So always use the scopes. Scopes are a powerful thing that won't lie to you, because they're just taking the literal video input of the signal that you're sending it. So you can color correct on a black and white monitor, and if you understand the scopes, you'll be able to get perfect color correction on it just by trusting the numbers. I don't recommend that, but it's always good to have a monitor that is good enough, and then trust the scopes. Daniel, I agree wholeheartedly. I always check the scopes. So yeah, I posted my LUTs. I don't use LUTs too often. I create custom looks for every project that we work on, and if it's a bigger project, then that usually gets sent to a professional coloring suite, and they create custom looks. LUTs aren't something that we reuse too often, or at least I don't personally. Like, unless we're shooting in the exact same environment and it works on a project, so you create your LUT and then you can kind of put it throughout. But usually creating LUTs from scratch, like I don't even use the technical conversion LUTs. We'll do the base color correction based on the scopes on what we're trying to go for, and then we'll add a color grade on top of that. But people did ask for my the EOS R LUTs, because people want to use the C log that's coming out of the camera, because it does make the footage look good if you expose it right. So I sent it out to a few people, and because I calibrated it based on the scopes, they would send me some of that footage back, and I was like, wow, it's really red. Why is it red? Only to find out that they just put the LUT on, but it was auto white balance on the camera, or the camera was set to a different color Kelvin temperature than the lights that they were using. So I was like, okay. And then once they set their cameras right, they sent the LUT back, and it works. And it's based on the it was based on me capturing it correctly with the proper color temperature, using my color charts, which are somewhere. I don't know where they are. Oh. But yeah, Daniel, I agree with you wholeheartedly. They work very, very well. Unfortunately, I can't color correct. I haven't figured out how to put a LUT onto this properly, but how's this looking for you guys? Is this okay? Is this I can't tell until after the fact, where I'm like, okay, I try to adjust it. How's the color in this? Because I know the color on this shot is all whack, because I'm going through the webcam utility. I'm not doing C-Log. I'm just trying to figure it out. Anyways. So, okay, let me share something with you guys. Okay. So going back to psychological levels, where is it? Safari. Here we go. Look at that. Okay. So one of the things that we were talking about on a psychological level, on something that is you have the surface level basic information, the thing that people instantly see. And that if you ask them, like, what do you see? They'll tell you on the surface what they see. But at the same time, almost just as fast, they're seeing all the subsurface stuff, all the subconscious stuff, all the subliminal things that you're trying to communicate. So someone asked me, why did I choose this picture for this banner, and why this? So first of all, like, what do you notice first? Very first thing you notice is fix it in camera, finesse in post. It, like, use a banner to communicate that clear message. But deliberately, I chose this picture because I didn't want to talk about cameras specifically. So I didn't want to be holding a camera because I'm not a pro photographer. I'm more of a cinematographer side, but more on the post production. That's where that's my comfort zone. But I definitely wanted to talk about light because that's where I started. I wanted to be a cinematographer. So I understand lighting, and I wanted to explore that a bit more and share all the good things. And especially for people that would be creating this content to then send it to people to be able to edit or to have a easier time in post-production. So it's like, if you fix it in camera, you'll be able to then you'll finesse it in post and you'll have a much better time. You'll be a happier camper for it. So I still wanted to have something light. I didn't want to have like an aperture light or something like that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to use a flashlight. But then everything about this picture is about shining a light onto what? What am I looking at? It's something down here. But then subconsciously, it's me shining a light on this. That's what I'm trying to communicate. It doesn't mean that that's what you get from it. But on a subconscious level, I'm looking at I'm shining a light on all this great content. Now, this may be me thinking way too hard at it, but that's what I was trying to go for without kind of knocking people over the head. So again, this is the basic knowledge. It's like, okay, it's a guy with a flashlight, fix it in camera, finesse it in post. But when you put all that together and you look at it for a split second, you walk away from it, you're like, what is he looking at? I don't know. And just like, and there's that little bit of mystery. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with that analysis of it, or was I overthinking it? And I overthink everything. So the answer is yes to that one. But what do you guys think? What do you guys get from this kind of banner? I don't want this to turn into a channel review or anything like that, but you guys are already subs, so I appreciate, and I know that you guys have looked at it, and I know that you guys gave me that thumbs up and subscribe. So thank you again for all that. So again, it's really finding those moments in the footage. It's finding those moments in everything that you do. That's why choosing the right camera angle based on what you're trying to communicate. That's why choosing the color scheme. That's why having like red communicates something, blue communicates something. The way a light lands on a face communicates something. The way a character is looking up, down, the way, if you, like, for instance, if you frame a shot like this, it's like that person is talking to someone, and you give this room, like this would be considered a medium close-up or a close-up, where the actor would be talking to someone, and you do the shot, reverse shot. And this is just, you want to be able to see enough expression in their face. But if you go to a wider shot, because there's leading room, you know that they're looking that way, that there's something in front of them that the audience should be paying attention to. But if you have them kind of like this, then subconsciously the audience starts thinking about, well, what's behind them? What's going to be coming? Like, why is this area back here exposed? Like, should I be looking for something? And this is where those horror movies where you see something go back here. So it's like there's so much in the cinematic language that can be done from how that can be done in just the writing, the words that are used, and then the way the words are put into order. And then, exactly, it's guiding the eyes. You're directing the audience where to look. And it's a very powerful thing. And if the camera is low looking up, then that shows that whatever the camera's looking at has more authority, has more power in it. If the camera's looking down at something, then that means that the camera has more authority over the thing that it's looking at. So that's the production part of it. And then you have the whole other, like, the pacing of it, like the how long your pauses are between one shot or another. And can be translated onto a onto YouTube videos, but it definitely works in narrative. But all those psychological cues, all those subliminal cues are still present because almost everyone that's consuming on YouTube is still exposed to that in everything else. So they understand it on a deeper level. So use those things to your advantage to communicate better with everything that you're trying to do. I was watching this thing about public speaking, and people are saying, like, if your hands are open, then more people will be receptive to what you're saying versus pointing or having your palms down. It's all these things that just your brain has been taught just through human interaction. The words you use, how you use it, the sound of your voice, the dynamics. If you have that question at the end where your voice intonation goes up, like all these things just play all these things play a crucial role to communicating. And fast editing on YouTube is just it's trying to play to that experience where if you're cut fast enough, then people don't have a moment to be bored. There's always a pop happening. There's always some sound happening. There's always an edit happening. So, like maybe I should do my live streams like this where it's just like nonstop, like, oh my God, like this is so good. I won't, please. Don't jump off. It's fascinating for me to watch all these things. And I know that when I started my channel, I had an advantage that most people don't. I had a backlog history of understanding how to create videos. I didn't know how to be in front of the camera because that wasn't something that I ever did before. Even talking to a camera like this is not something that I understood. I always directed from the other side of the camera. Julian, hello. Nice to see you here. Me live streaming. I'm following your lead, my friend. Doing what you do best. So when I started this channel, again, I had an advantage to understand cameras and lighting and all that. And even before I started, I knew the channel that I wanted to create. I knew the niche that I wanted to get into. I had my 50 videos set up. I knew what I wanted to do. And I knew that I needed to learn two major things because I relied on a lot of other more talented people to help me with those in the past, especially writing scripts, doing the research for them. 90% of the time I would be handed a script and it was already researched. Everything was there. Everything was good. It was my job to then convert that page into visuals, I needed to manifest that into a visualization, and it would either be through animation or through video or a combination of the two. And then as soon as I was done filming all that, 90% of the time I would also edit it because I directed it or I shot it. And then I would hand it off to a colorist. I would hand it off to an audio engineer who would then mix it, add the music, add the sound effects. And then that would then be exported and handed over to a whole team of social marketing, awesomeness. And they would then spread it out into the universe, into the interverse. So I had my little comfort zone of get the script, make the video, hand it off, and then audio and all this social marketing stuff happened after the fact. So I had to learn, okay, I know what a good script should be. But then when I started writing, it's like, okay, well, and trying to piece it all together and then structure it into a story that actually made sense and then fall from one thought to another. And writing is, I have so much respect for writers that it's such a talent to be able to do well and really well. But it's something that I wanted to learn and become better at as well, because I wanted to become a better storyteller. And writing is the first step. Second is doing the production. And then your third chance to craft the story is in editing. So editing is something that I'm very comfortable with. But then I also needed to learn how to I needed to learn about microphones. I never needed to know about microphones. So I started watching Tom Buck because of his microphone obsession, which is fantastic. This is a microphone by his recommendation. I think it's a great microphone. I know that he's gone all retro all these this last couple of days, but so yeah, so I need to learn about audio and mixing audio, and then doing sound design and adding music, and then how to mix all that to balance well, and so that your voice cuts through. And then after that, it's like, well, you upload the video. Well, you're not done. That's the fun part. And then you have to go in and post a video. You have to do the thumbnail. You have to understand how to do a thumbnail that make people click on it. And then you have to promote it on all these other platforms without being too silly, without being sleazy. Man, it's just, there's so much. You need to be a brand expert. Like how does your whole channel look when you start putting it all together? You need to have a website. Do you need to have a website? Why? What's on the website? And then you should do courses. Like, there's so much that needs to go into just creating a YouTube channel. Like, a YouTube channel isn't just uploading videos. Like, you have to do so much more if you want it to be a successful channel that grows and grows. And I feel very fortunate that the topic that I chose is something that I can't shut up about, and I love talking about it. So it's easy for me to keep making content about this because I love it. And it's like, when I learn something new, I get excited. It's like, oh, I want to show people, but then I know that I want to do it in a way that feels like a new thought that I'm adding to the conversation. So there's always that balance, and I always try to have that fun with it. So let me ask you guys a question. What are topics that you guys like or would like to know more about? Like, ask me anything at this point. Oh, beyond that, what are your thoughts on shorts? Because I've been putting on shorts for I've released a couple of shorts, and I try not to push them out to the subscribers, because I found that when I did that before, like, I would get people. I don't want to bug you guys with 15 seconds of like a cutesy little clip. So Daniel, being in front of the camera is challenging as I spend all my time behind them. Yes, exactly. I felt so awkward filming my very first video and talking to camera, and I was just recording. I wasn't doing something live. I felt so weird trying to do talking. I felt nervous. I don't know why. And it's like, I could have just stopped the camera, but you're trying to sound like you know what you're talking about. And it's weird because when you do know what you're talking about, you shouldn't be, that anxiety shouldn't show up. But I actually love doing these live streams because this is another aspect that I want to learn how to do better. I want to be able to talk freely and comfortably to a group of people with coherent ideas. So let me know if I'm coherent enough. Okay, let's see other comments. Thank you, Julian. I like the camera effects too. I like being able to get the comments on the screen to let people know what I'm talking about. So Sven says that I had to learn both things, how to use the camera, editing too, and standing in front of the camera is very challenging. I wholeheartedly understand what you're going through, because if I had to add in how to make videos on top of all that, it would have been harder. And a lot of people, and keep going, because your videos are awesome, by the way. I just wish I knew what you were saying, but they look and sound great. So well done. It's one of those things where people spend the first year learning how to make videos that are watchable. And then they like, okay, maybe I should focus my channel on making something that is more than just one good video idea, but just video after video that builds on one bigger thought. So Philip says, Peter Walbeck is talking about the 10-second rule. Cut and add something every 10 seconds to engage your audience. But it really depends on the topic and the narrative. Absolutely. It's like Mr. Beast is cutting and sound effects and so much stuff, but that's for a very particular audience. And it's not necessarily for every audience, because I have a hard time watching those videos because it's just not, I'm not interested in that. I think he makes fascinating videos. Like, I think the topics are really good and I see how they work, but I think it's just, it's overdone. It's like using Comic Sans in graphic design. Everyone's like, yeah, I know you can, but do you really need to? But yeah, even in my videos, I try to incorporate a version of that. I try to incorporate having something change every once in a while. It doesn't have to be too dramatic. Usually it's something as simple as just changing the camera angle, going to a close-up, or doing some B-roll. So it's still in the same vein, but I know that my audience, just based on the analytics, is definitely a little bit older, and they're looking for that specific kind of content. So I know that I'm earning every sub, and I can feel that because it's like I'm working towards it. I'm trying to put in the work for the videos. I'm trying to make sure that when someone watches the video, they walk away with something that they didn't know, or reminded of something that is actually valuable to the process of them creating their own videos. Thank you. Thank you very much. The mic is not listed in my description. It should be. It is the Shure MV7. I'm actually going to do a full review on this, between this and the SM7B, and why I actually like this mic over the other one. I'm just going to, I'll spoil it right now. This mic, if you can see, no, let me switch over to the other camera. So this mic, it's a USB mic, and it's a USB mic and a XLR mic. So this is going into my camera, and this is going into the computer. So I'm able to record a clean signal right into the camera, but I'm able to then isolate with the USB and go into the streaming service, or into, I can just use this as my regular Skype microphone, which sounds great because all my clients are like, wow, you sound fantastic. And it's like, yeah, the mic sounds good. So I'm not even using the camera in the other one. So I don't want to have to set up my mic just to use that. Or, and the reason I got this is because I used to have the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 that I was using as a DAC into my computer. But again, I wasn't able to plug this into the camera and into the computer at the same time. So I had to choose one or the other. So I like the versatility of this, and it still sounds really good comparatively. How does it sound for you guys? Does it sound good? Do you guys like it? You don't have to add subtitles. Keep doing what you are doing. However, and this is something that I say to Dan as well, if you guys want to make money, and I heard this on Clubhouse today, if you want to make money on YouTube, do it in English. I didn't say it. I'm just repeating what I heard. So you guys can do, I think you guys should do English channels and kind of lean into them. And it'll take time to grow. I understand that. But if you guys are looking to make money, unless you guys are already making bank, then don't worry. Just ignore what I said. Okay. So Eric, first of all, Eric, hello. Nice to see you. Do you have videos about informal music performance streaming, creating acoustic music videos, electric guitar, piano, music videos, and or streaming? I personally don't, but Tom Buck would be the best person. Like, he is all about audio and streaming, and he'll be able to point you in the right direction. Though I did see something from Yamaha. It was because I'm a drummer, so there's this microphone that plugs into a DAC, and the microphone goes on the bass drum, and it picks up the entire. It mics the entire kit just from that one place, but also at the same time miking it, so you're able to record from that one station. But it also knows the difference between the bass hit, the snare hit, the cymbals, and you can then add your own sounds to that. I thought it was fantastic. It was the Yamaha something or other. I wish I could remember, but it's one of those things like, ooh, whenever I get a drum set, if I get an acoustic drum set again, I'm gonna get that just so I can record and play, because it sounded great. And there's a guy I follow. He's a drummer, and all he does is drum covers, and everything just sounds so good. He's also phenomenal, but that's a whole nother story. So yeah, Sven, you don't need to do subtitles. Just do it in English. Just do it in English. So different editing techniques and video look for different audience. Yes, absolutely. There's a pacing. Like Roger, you and I have the same kind of pacing in our videos where there is a slow pacing, and we cut when it's needed. So, and I always kind of claim that hold on a shot as long as it needs to be, no longer and no shorter. So if there's a point that you're trying to make, then maybe go into a close-up. But if there's something that you're talking about, like you want to talk about a wallet or something like that, then do a close-up of the wallet. Let it zoom in, and then like talk about the details and how you have the pull strap, and then that will pull out all the cards and stuff like that. Like understanding show versus tell is a very, very powerful thing. And once you kind of get the feeling for it, it won't really matter. You'll just do it naturally a lot of the time, and it just becomes a feeling. Fade to Black, thank you. Appreciate that. Well, I hope so, because I've been doing this professionally for about 20 years now. So thank you. I'm actually getting better at this kind of stuff because of how much I've piled onto myself and tried to figure out. So I'm still trying to get better. I'm still learning every single day. And my goal is to come across as though I know what I'm talking about, because I do. Does that make sense? Oh, so there was another discussion that we had that I had with a friend. And we're talking about, he showed me a channel by someone. And even before I watched the channel, the color was off a little bit. So I didn't even watch the video. I just noticed that his color was off. But he was a channel talking about making like video production and doing commercials and stuff like that. And he had about 1,000 subscribers or so. And I was just like, for me, it was hard to look at his channel and go like, okay, does he really know what he's talking about? Because he's not implementing it into his own stuff. And that's how I feel even with my own channel. I try, and I've made plenty of mistakes. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I was perfect. I did those same mistakes because, again, as a colorist, I'm not a colorist. So I would do what I thought was right, but then I would show my colorist friends and they'd be like, ooh, no, tone it back. Or like, I would get that advice. So I'm trying to learn. And that's why I made those color grading videos, because I needed to learn how to color grade myself footage on camera that on log that I would never have to do in the past, because I would always pass it off to a colorist to do for me on my professional work. So I never filmed in those kind of scenarios just for me personally. I would just film on an iPhone just to have fun, or on DSLR. So, but when I needed to learn how to do it, and I started to show those friends, and they would look back and be like, okay, no, here, this is how you do it. So they would freely give me, those tips and the advice. And so I asked, can I share this in this whole process that you showed me? Can I tweak it for the audience? Because I think that everyone will get a lot of value from that. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Because they were showed by someone else, and they were showed by someone else. And it's just like, this whole community is about sharing great ideas. So when I finally learned it, it all clicked, because they showed me, and it took me a while, like just practicing, like something's not, it's like when it finally all clicked, and I didn't have to use a LUT, and I didn't need to use a LUT, and I just knew what I was looking for using the scopes, going back to the scopes, then it just became so easy that I am now at a point where you give me any footage that's shot in a flat or log profile, and I'll be able to color correct it, because I know what to look for. I understand the process. And that's why I make those videos. And I haven't even gotten into the stuff that I'm actually that I feel that I'm really good at. But I like that I'm sharing all this stuff, and I like that the things that I learned that I think are fascinating, I'm sharing with you guys as well. So you did start a YouTube English channel, but the viewers are from Bulgaria. That is why I stopped talking in English. At some point, I will go back for it. Just need to become better in video creating. Then it's just time. I'm doing the same thing. Even if you look at my first video compared to now, the look and feel is the same, but my confidence on camera is definitely waning. My editing was so chopped up because, again, I was trying to create thoughts and I had to fix it in post, and so it's just all these editing. But then I put too much effects because that's what I thought you needed to do, all these sound effects. So it's everyone goes through that same learning curve process. Unless you're coming into YouTube with a team, there's so much to learn. Everyone has to learn something. Eric, thank you. Wishing you success in the channel so you can get an acoustic drum set. Oh man, I would love that. That's what I'm working for. All the joys in life. Ricardo, hello. Yeah, I kept going extra late just for you. I knew you're going to make it. So Daniel says, as a DP, when I color grade my own footage, it can be challenging. That's why I really like your tagline about getting it right in camera. Always been what I bring to my clients. Absolutely. And I told the story before, but where that line came from, we were on an airport in Miami, and we're doing a commercial for Lexus, and they had all these cars, and it was kind of like it was raining a little bit, so they wet down the tarp, and it was great. It looked fantastic, and the hood had a little bit of rain and smudge on it, and the director's just like, we'll fix it in post. And because I was doing the post and the VFX and all that kind of stuff, I blurted out, "We'll fix it in camera." And he kind of paused, looked over, and he's like, "Fine." And then they took 15 seconds, they cleaned the car, and we didn't have to spend the day just trying to clean up the hood of the car, because it was literally a shot that was going over that. And it was just like, because they wanted to hurry up and just get it done. But like, if you spend the 5 minutes, you're going to save yourself a day of trying to fix it later, or even scrap that shot altogether because it's not usable. So if there's something in the background, always check the frame. So my two sayings are fix it in camera and then check the frame. So it all ties in together. Always check the frame. Always check what you're about to shoot. So just before you hit record, check the frame. Check the frame. So I think a pro would look at my content and say, "What the heck?" But a car guy doesn't know the difference. I'm trying to do things I see from pros. It's the same thing. And YouTube is very, very forgiving. But because my channel is dedicated to talking about how to make stuff look better, it's one of those things like, okay, it better look good. It better sound good. It better look good. And, like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out as I go. I'm still trying to make sure that my content, because there's so much to think about. And I've seen your videos, and I know the stuff that you do is really good. So you don't need to focus so much on the camera portion of it, because people are there for the camera stuff. They're there to look at what you're doing with the cars, and that's where your professionalism comes through. Again, if you watch Mr. Beast, his videos are kind of all over the place in terms of the quality, the lighting, and the only thing that's really good about it is the sound is consistent and sounds great. Miami's nice and warm. We're up in Canada right now, nice and cold with about 2 feet of snow. That's right. Fix it in camera. So Eric, no, it is a team of one. Are you a part of a team for someone now as well as? Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I work full time. I have a company and I do a lot of work with clients. A lot of the work that I do is in animation, motion graphics. I do work with a company that does work with pharmaceuticals, Mad Microbe. You guys check them out. They're fantastic. I also do a lot of work for other clients. I do, I would say that I work full time and I do YouTube as my side hustle, my hobby. Oh, that's right. Ricardo, you are absolutely right. Surprise thing. Thank you. No, I didn't talk about it. Thank you for reminding me. It was sitting right there the entire time. Okay. So today I'm going to tell you about the... Hold on, wait. Let me see if I can... Is that... Okay. Nope. There we go. So this... Does anyone know what this is? It has this on the side. Oop. Can you focus? Focus. Does anyone know what this is? First one that guessed right. Yeah. I'm going to switch over to the other camera right here. Ding, ding, ding. That's right. Yeah, this is a photo, the old school photo timer. This is how you would dodge and burn based on how you would set this. That's right. Developing film. This is where I started. I spent my high school years developing film in dark rooms. I was that guy. I was part of the photo club. That was me. I went to university for cinematography afterwards. So I have this on my shelf to remind me of how important it is to just sometimes take the time when creating something, because too much time or not enough time can make the difference in something that is beautiful. So this is one of those reminders where I love it. And this glows in the dark too. So it's one of those heirloom pieces that I love. It just looks awesome. I always wanted to do some kind of retro 50s style short film where, they build a time machine and, but they think that they're in a dark room or something. Anyways, so that's the special thing for this week, the time o' light, because it times the light. So it would then turn off the light and it would turn on the, fun stuff. So you wouldn't have to sit there with a watch that you couldn't see. Glow in the dark. That's what makes it all special. All right. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Let's see. Just going through. Hey, this is a long one. So the recap. When you are editing your footage, look for those moments that can land on the beat, not the edit. If you need to bang something out, go for it. Go get it out quickly. But if you guys need to create something that really, really connects with the audience, then, spend that time. Spend that extra little bit of time and always walk away from it. Walk away from an edit and then come back to it. When is my next video? I try to post my videos every Tuesday or Wednesday. So that's the next one that's coming out. And it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to give you any hints on what it is because I'm debating between two. So if I say what it is and I post the other one, then but yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to be wrapping it up. So I'm going to say, as always, thanks for watching. I'm Raphael. Give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll talk to you soon. Wait for it. Wait for it. Bye for now.